Hickman's ultimate piece of House of X and Powers of 10. We're back after actually that video. The first episode technically was recorded back in November of last year. I've just been on holding it for a while. So now we're back to finally talking about it. Now we're going to talk about House of 10 and House of X issue 2, which is the famous Moira Metagra chapter that reveals that she is actually a mutant. Oh dear, it's pretty amazing, honestly. I'm like, really is the uncanny life of Moira X issue. Technically, the third chapter in this magnum opus of Hickman. If you can't find it in you to survive, if you are worthy, then I will make you into something more than them. Something eternal. Are you saying that we're gonna have Eternals? Nah. When she was 13 years old, Moira fell ill. Her fever was high, unnaturally so, and the doctor's prognosis was not hopeful. The next day, almost miraculously, she was fine, better than ever, right as rain. Years later, she would marry, become a school teacher, and have 3 children, 2 boys, Callum and Dean, and 1 girl, Abigail. That would in turn have 8 children of their own, and to Moira's great joy, once every year the extended family will return home. Moira eventually died at the age of 74 when she passed peacefully in her sleep. It was a good life, a human life. Predictable, mostly pleasant, and not extraordinary at all. And then he got crazy. Okay, so Moira was always established as a human who was friends with mutants, a mutanist who was extremely well known in biology. When in reality, she was something more. Like in this Hickman era, throughout this entire Dawn of X throughout this entire stuff, she becomes kind of cold and vindictive for whenever we see her, and it's kind of creepy at times. Moira's second life began in the Euro. Oh, it was the womb birth of a fully sentient being who had perfect recollection of her prior life. Moira then narrates, "You would think being totally aware and trapped inside your mother would lend itself to madness, but the rearing of children, it seems, comes with a certain amount of bliss baked in, some kind of imbecance induced neurotic, zen via biology. And the truth is, I've never been happier. For your mother is safe, your mother is home. It's the world out there that makes you lose your mind." Shortly after she was born, Moira's parents began to believe that she was special. Oh, and she was, just not the way they thought. There was nothing special about Moira learning to walk, speak, and read early. She was born knowing how to do these things. No, she was special because she was something new, and at the time, something few in the world, including herself, had ever seen. Though she did not know it, Moira was a mutant. No! Okay. In her early years, Moira had to be careful not to let on what she really was. She had to hide what was going on in a mind that was older than the humans who made her. She knew the pride they had for this special girl would quickly turn to fail if she pulled back the curtain a little too far. But try as he might, it was impossible to completely conceal how different she was. Her teachers began to use words like advanced and clever, which led to other words like brilliant and prodigy, which eventually led to Moira being pushed into the direction of academia, a life of the mind. Moira didn't fight these efforts, as she herself wanted to understand who and what she was, and had exhausted all the possibilities the perspective of her first life offered her. Moira would later attend Oxford University. While there, she met some interesting people and eventually, out of consideration of her unknown condition, concentrated her studies in the areas of psychology and biology. She ran controlled experiments to prove that her memories were not a form of disorder or psychosis. She marked the existence of personal historical markers from her first life and discovered 2 things. If she simply performed her role in the events as she did in her previous life, if she was a passive participant, then the event would proceed almost exactly as before. This proved her memories were real. But if she became an active participant, she could change what would happen. The path of her life would diverge. Which would you think would be amazing? Who wouldn't want to fix all the mistakes you made in the past? Then again, that was before I knew what the observer effect was. And that's simply by existing and watching, I was already changing everything. And what seemed to be a gift, something of a blessing, wasn't a blessing at all. It was a curse. Me and the love of her life, already knowing every flaw they possess, along with the knowledge they will never change, destroyed any chance of Mora recreating what she had in her first life. Familiarity breeds contempt, and her once husband could see in her eyes. There would be no family more in this life, no one to love, no one to be loved by, and no children in the yard playing and laughing. She wondered, damned as she was, if there was others like her in the world, ruining it right alongside her. Then she saw a man on television, someone with a faint memory of someone she met in school. I believe the shadows are no place for angels to hide. So with that in mind, I feel it's finally about time to put an end to masks, an end to hiding our gifts behind secret identities and ill-fitting clothes. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Charles Xavier, also known as Professor X, and I am a mutant. If I'm correct, I recall watching the video about it. I think this is New X-Men by Grant Morrison's scene, but this time it's the one without Moira involved in anything. His words echoed in her ears and took root to her heart. Moira knew that she might be a mutant too, and that she had to talk to this man and find out for sure. So Moira jumped from the first flight she could find to America, and died when her plane crashed into the ocean. Oh boy. In Moira's third life, she graciously dove into the life of science. She realigned her areas of interest to focus on anthropology and genetics, and actually saw Charles Xavier when they were both at Oxford. She knew that he was hiding what he was at the time and pushing his ideas that served his own interests, but she was able to use what she learned from him to determine that she was, in fact, a mutant. But in the combination of her distaste for her natural abilities, along with her arrogance of Xavier's ideas and what she felt was thinly disguised God complex, made her fearful of revealing what she was to him. Charles Xavier, Moira decided, wasn't a solution to anything. He, like her, was suffering from a disease. Mutation, you see, is a cancer, and she decided to devote her life to curing the world of it. After years of research and experimentation, Moira and her team succeeded. She found a way to eliminate that cursed mutant gene. She found her cure. But she never got a chance to use it. She wasn't allowed to. And all hell broke loose. The scientists are all brutally killed by the wrath of Mystique and her wife Destiny. It's interesting. I can't see her at all. I can see the world bending around her, the eddies of changing rippling out, but she is just an absence, a hole where there shouldn't be one. A mutant who is invisible to other mutants. It's a defense mechanism of sort, I suppose, but not much good once you know what you're looking for. Is she looking at me now, Raven? She is, and she doesn't look happy. Yes, well, I suppose we've given her a good reason. I'm like, all we just did was kill all her friends and scientist colleagues. Wait. Then again, we were acting with cause. Listen to me, child. My mutant name is Destiny, and I have the power to see the future, which is tricky with someone like you since your mutant power is reincarnation. One might think it would be impossible seeing the future of someone who potentially has limitless, unending ones. But here I am, child. See me. You killed all my friends, everyone. So if you're going to kill me, then just kill me and get it over with. We're going to do that, but it doesn't do much good if we're going to have to do it all over again next time. Now listen closely. Destiny has a word for you. Such a gift, knowledge, and yet here you are, using it to betray your own kind. It's a disease, what we are, but I'm not trying to force it on anyone. I'm only trying to cure people who want it. You think this starts out at want? You think they'll let you keep this thing you've made? Do you have any idea how much they hate us? The humans will come for you. They'll break you, chain you, make you their own, and then mankind will use what you've done here to eliminate our entire race. Yeah. I mean, like, when you're at the point when the humans are so stubbornly arrogant towards mutants and hateful that they will work with the freaking Nazis, that's saying something. I have seen the potential of your good works, and I do not care for them. How exactly is that you think you can stop me? I am much older than you are. My powers will have manifested full of the knowledge of what we have done. If you once again try to do this evil work today, our people, like today, I will see the potential outcome of it and find you again. And if you try to kill me before I kill you, I will see my end coming and prevent it. You see, Moira, we are joined together now, you and I. You will know that I am out there waiting for this version of you, and you, knowing that, have a choice. Change or die. Help your people, or I will annihilate you and all your lives to come. And Moira just glares. Mystique just replies, I think she's still on the fence and needs a bit more encouragement. Very well, here it is. You're a smart woman who's beginning to understand the potential of your power. You're starting to believe that you are in kind of an eternal loop of some kind, that your powers give you a version of immortality. I want you to know that they are not. I see 10 lives, Moira, maybe 11 if you make the right choice at the end, but that is all. So, let's see. As we know, the Dawn of X and all this stuff going on in the Marvel Universe now is Moira's 10th life. Which means that if she dies but makes the right choice, she will have a life that she will return, but will probably change everything to the point that they could justify, oh, we did all this. Moira's the only one that knows. Yeah, I feel like that's a... It sort of reminded me how it went with Secret Wars, how it felt like everything just rebooted after the events of Secret Wars. Like, right before Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers started. But the only difference was that the Fantastic Four were gone, and that probably everyone remembered for a time, and then everyone somehow forgot. I don't really know that much about what happened after Secret Wars by Hickman. It just, when I saw the ending, I was like, it feels like the universe rebooted here. They're back to issue 1 of New Avengers. So, yeah, I get the feeling that if Moira dies yet makes the right choice, her 11th life will be the back to former status quo if Marvel editorial is that stubborn to not change the X-Men after Hickman. Yeah. How is that possible? You were born each time with the knowledge of your previous lives, but if you die as a child before your mutant powers manifest, then you will not reincarnate. You simply end like everyone else. And what if I don't believe you? Or that was what you said is true? Or that what you want is right? My dear, you're a scientist. You tell me how one would go about proving something like that. I test it, experience it for myself in my next life. The question is, will you? Will you embrace what you are and help your people instead of hurt them? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't want to die like this. Dying like this is what a life poorly lived gets you. Pyro, yes, mother. Burn her, and slowly so she doesn't forget how dying like this feels. And brutally killed by Inferno. Oh boy. Killed by Pyro. You see, it's a metaphor for the upcoming event Inferno, I think. Moira's 4th life began with urgency. She threw herself fully into understanding what she would eventually call the human-mutant dilemma. When 2 aggressive species share the same environment, evolution demands either adaptation or dominance. Moira began to look at the problem beyond her own limited experience and consider the potential benefits of Homo superior. After all, evolution is what gave the world mankind. Perhaps in the coming days, the world would need something more. In light of this, Moira also gave Charles Xavier a second look. She saw beyond the confidence, beyond the arrogance, to what was hidden underneath. A mutant who was determined to share his people had a place in the world. He was a mutant with a dream, and over time, it made her love him. So much so that she stood by his side for the rest of the days. Through the gifted years, through the time of hate and fear, through the lost decade, until the very end, when, as Destiny had promised, the humans and their extinction machines came for them and all the children. So, yeah, when we get this whole flashback panel of all the stuff, we see the time when we see the early days of the X-Men, and if I'm correct, it's Chris Claremont's run. We see the day when the X-Men and the Avengers were fighting through the lost decade, which kind of sums up the whole experience they went through. And through the Tide of Fear, I think that's new X-Men, but it could be a little bit beforehand. And then we get the murderous end of Xavier and Moira because humanity sucks, right? In Moira's fourth life, she decided aggression was the only acceptable response to the violent tendencies of man. Stealing the means from her parents, she ran away from the home at the age of 13 and fled to America. There, Moira sought out Charles almost a full decade before they were supposed to meet. She opened her mind to him for the first time, and he saw all that she experienced in her first 4 lives. He saw how his dream had failed, and the experience radicalized him. Instead of a school of mutants, he gathered a legion. He built a city full of man's evolutionary betters, and the walls, they held back the outside world of man. Until the machines, Bolivar Trask's adaptive learning machines, came for the mutants again, and she dies again in this event. So, yeah, that clearly doesn't end well. Oh boy. So they established a nation in this timeline, but not the way they would go for House and Powers of 10 and for the Dawn of X era. It does not go well, does it? Moira spent the entirety of her 7th life eradicating the Trask bloodline. Bolivar, Donald, Gwyneth, Simon, without mercy, without pity, she came for all their children. Then, with blood on her hands and blood in her mouth, Moira learned the darkest truth of all her many lives regarding man's nightmare machines. Notice how they skipped the 6th life. That comes in later. Artificial intelligence is like a fire. It's a discovery, not an invention. All she succeeded to do was stopping the Trask from being the first human and to burn their hand. Like mutants, the machines simply emerge at a certain point during societal and environmental evolution. And without any hope Moira had of being able to stop them, died, and the experience radicalized her. Ouch. In Moira's 8th life, she left behind the dream of Charles Xavier and embraced the necessary evil of the master of magnetism. Moira filled Magneto's mind with stories of future holocausts, another war lost, another people destroyed. So we see this awesome panel of Magneto sitting on this throne with an octopus while Moira bows, and then reveals Magneto raged, as in he lost his mind and got crazy. And fell to the combined might of Earth's human heroes and the mutants, betrayed by his own kind, fools who believed in the greater human good. Yeah, that ended badly, and Magneto launched nukes at Washington D.C.'s state capital, aka Congress, and we all know that would never happen nowadays. And what she feared was little time left, little lives left. Moira embraced the ideas of evolutionary dominance, survival of the fittest. Some thought him a monster, some called him evil. But to Moira, Apocalypse was simply the only solution she had not tried. So yeah, Apocalypse and Moira get together and prepare to take over the world. Yeah, that sounds about right. With the children of the 4 horsemen, aka the first children of Apocalypse that would be explained in Ten of Swords. So anyways, this reveals that, and if the humans wanted a war, if their machines dead, then they would give them one without end. So this reveals that, yeah, the horsemen of the Apocalypse killed the Avengers, and, well, battled the machine intelligence of Nimrod. Also, I keep asking. I know in this life we understand that, yeah, this is when the Avengers were killed, but the other lives I was thinking, what the hell happened to all the Avengers in those timelines? did they just like, well, we tried, but we can't convince man to stop to not do mass genocide, but because Captain America said America and whatnot. And then, after all the lives lost, after the end of all the wars, armed with the knowledge that all the old ways and all the old ways of thinking would never be enough to save her people, she decided to try something truly revolutionary. And in Moira's 10th life, she decided she and Charles Xavier would break all the rules. And I wondered why, sitting there under paint parted skies and brilliant sun, was this strong man smiling so? Oh, I was, wasn't I? Yes. Do you want to know why? I do, very much so. I was smiling because I had recently had the most wonderful dream of a better world and my place in it. Moira frowns and says, well, here's the thing, Charles. It's not a dream if it's real. I'm sorry, do we know one another? Oh, yes, we go back quite the ways. Who are you? Why don't you read my mind, Charles? Read my mind and see. Ah. Oh, that scene gets expanded upon later in the series. It ends badly for him. I am here. I've always been here. Moira X. So yeah, we get these charts of the May lives of Moira X, and a lot of them show her radically life and whatnot. But oh man, so many lives, and yeah, and all of them end in utter tragedy. Oh man. And we even see that Moira faked her death in an event comic back in the X-Men, where they use a golem to think it's Moira and whatnot. Yeah, it's complicated. She died in a previous event, but you're like, wait, then how does she not reboot the universe? Oh no, she faked her death with a golem and whatnot, and it thinks it's Moira Metagroth. Anyways, we get to Powers of 10, issue 3. Wait, am I correct on that? Oh yeah. So yeah, House of X, issue 2. Pretty wacky, changing stuff for Moira and her character, and now nowadays she's kind of a sadistic, crazy woman, like very crazy. So hide your bags, kids, hide your bags. She's going to war soon. So we cut away to that, and we go to the past, the Powers of 10. The X-Men, Year 1, Island M, the Bermuda Triangle. Moira X and Charles Xavier go and arrive to the throne of Magneto. They say it is easy to become lost in this part of the world. Those who set sail on these waters are often never heard from again. I certainly had nothing to do with it, so ha ha ha. Maybe. But you are beyond the superstitions of men, and though lost, I know you have never lost your way. So what are you doing here, Charles? I am here for you, old friend. I cannot tell you how much it would please me to know that you and I would stand side by side in the coming days, but I have learned hard lessons and no longer believe there is a place in this world for both your dreams and mine, old friend. And what if I told you we were both wrong? That both our dreams are fleeting and too small for the coming days? I would find that hard to believe, you losing your faith. Tell me, Dr. Metagroth, you're a specialist specializing in behavior of mutants. Do you have any keen insight into what ails the good professor this day? Well, I may be the only person on this planet who truly understands what ails you both, but I have to warn you, my truth is profound and life-changing. It's primal, and I wonder if you are capable of bearing the weight of it. It really all comes down to one thing, Magneto. In this world, who determines what is truly good and what is truly evil? I do. I decide. Then open your mind to me. Open it to us. And together, we will figure out what to do about tomorrow. Magneto is silent. And how do I know this isn't some game? Some ploy to defeat me? How do I know you're not going to tamper with my mind? Please, just this once. Trust me. Magneto, because of his long abiding friendship with Xavier, takes off the helmet and, with Moira's help, transmutes all the memories of Moira Metagra, which naturally turns him into complete anguish. Ugh, you, you, you're a mutant? And all those lies, was it real? Yes, I'm a mutant. And yes, that was as real as it gets. Why would you show me that? The great failures, all the great falls, because our truth is profound and life-changing, and apart, we always lose. We believe it's only together that you and I, that all of our people can survive. Charles, you know better than this. I'm not interested in survival. Good, because I'm not either. I believe that there is one thing I haven't tried yet. All of mutantdom as one. It is it's a thing that means more than just surviving, but thriving and assuming our rightful place on this earth. We have a plan. It's ambitious and long term. Join us, Eric. Join me. I won't acquiesce to sympathy or doubt, Charles. I won't give an inch, and I will check you at every moment of weakness. And if you falter, know that I will not. I would expect nothing less. And they shake hands, cementing this dark trinity of mutants. Yeah, that's gonna end badly, probably. So, yeah. Chapter 4. We're together now, you and I. Of the House of X and Powers of 10 event. X-Men Year 10, Krakoa. Yeah, here's the thing. They say that every single ounce of Marvel continuity is all in a 10-year window, which I think is used to justify Spider-Man being in his late 20s to early 30s. But what happens when they break that rule? Well, what then? How do you justify Magneto when he eventually, gets way too older for the World War stuff? Because he's from that era of World War II along with Charles, so wouldn't that eventually lead to like the issue that people have, the idea that people would have with the Justice Society OG members from dying because they're at a fixed point in history and every other character around them is not? But then DC and Marvel has tried to answer that question, and it has yielded mixed results. I'm like, the only one I think is protected is Jake Garrick and Alan Scott because green flames and decelerated delayed aging powers. But the others, yeah, that's kind of a bigger struggle. Some were just left dead, and we're never seeing them again. At least until the next time warping crisis happens, and then we lost our minds. The X-Men Year 10, the Krakoa. So we see Cyclops looking at something. Okay, so what am I looking at here? A nightmare, a waking one, and the beginning of the end, unless I'm mistaken. These are the plans for a mother mold, a master mold that makes other master molds in orbit around the sun. Plans? Referring to something that's scheduled to be built, or something that already exists. As far as we can tell, construction has been completed. It's just been in a dormant phase, waiting for the right catalyst. Let me guess, a mutant whose reach exceeds his grasp. They call themselves Orcus. And they have Nazis working for them. Yeah, I'm still on that. You mean to tell me humanity is so freaking hateful towards mutants that they will work with the freaking Nazis that try to ruin the world just so humans with powers who are born with powers are given fair, and then give them fair treatment? Oh God. Like, I'm still stunned by that. I'm still stunned. I'm still amazed that the human race government, all the human governments will go ahead and say, okay, we know what pure evil looks like. We know what Hitler was. But we'll work with Nazis just to stop the rise of compassionate mutants or mutant terrorists, even though mutants have clearly shown that they are nuanced and whatnot. We are illogical nonsensers, and our government sucks. A collection of human scientists who are normally ideologically opposed to one another, but in mutantdom see a threat so great that they have bound together in order to stop us. According to the information Mystique stole, we've discovered it's mostly X-Shield and AIM agents with some remnant of Sword and Hammer operators sprinkled in. Oh, it's also filled with Hydra agents, so yeah, that's kind of problematic. And if you're wondering about their level of conviction, they've held their noses long enough to Operation Paperclip and a few ex-Hydra agents as well. I'm pretty sure Magneto would be like, I want to go up there and kill every last one of them because they really hate us so much that they will like the Nazis more. So, what's the plan? I'm surprised Scott Summers did not mention, wait, they hate us so much that they will work with the Nazis? It's quite simple, really. We cannot let the mother mold come online. Sure, but weather's always a sketchy proposition. You never know when it's going to start raining sentinels. There is that, but we have dealt with that before. Our urgency comes with projecting where the stratagem leads. We think the scale and resources imply a paradigm shift in their technology. Next generation sentinels? I don't get it. They're already built for adaptation and improvisation. What could we think this is where Nimrod becomes operational? Oh. Damn. Yeah, they have a history of Nimrod. Like, go back in its time travel shenanigans, Days of Future Past, and Nimrod came back into the past, and that stopped the events. However, it revealed that Days of Future Past still happens in another reality. And yeah, it's complicated. It just shows that humanity sucks, essentially. So yeah, now they know, oh, so this is when Nimrod's supposed to arrive. Okay, we're fucked, aren't we? Listen to me, Scott. They have to be stopped. Remember, this will be a frontal assault in an orbital station tens of millions of miles away, built by secret organizations whose sole purpose is the extinction of mutants. Can such a thing even be done? Scott remains silent before saying, does it need doing? Yes. Then it will be done. Also, I'm surprised if this was the MCU. I'm pretty sure they would have some character come in and say something insane and witty and pointing out the freaking obvious, like, they're working with Nazis! Why? Like, I'm still annoyed by that. Like, when the humans went ahead and had a massive population growth, they were like, well, they're alright, they're the humans, they live on the moon! Mutants? Oh, we hate them. Yeah, we hate them. Even though we could just, not. Meanwhile, we cut away to the year 1000. Year 100. Asteroid K. Well, boss, Cardinal and Rasputin say they succeeded, which I suppose is good news. But the bad news is, Sorial and Pervisol aren't making it home. Without Pervisol's blackout abilities, I'm not exactly sure if the information still benefits us. I don't see how we can make it back into the city. You'll have to forgive him, or has a limiting perspective. It's a shortcoming that but the benefits, well, what do we have that is not a product of its spoils? Do you really have it? Yes. And we see a giant blue hand. Go ahead and collect a data chip. Revealing to be Apocalypse! Reduced down to their essence, the machines are composed of pure information, a repository of knowledge, which is such a precautious thing in the hands of the living. Too much knowledge and the weak are paralyzed by choice. Too little and the foolish jump boldly into the gaping maw of the hungry enemy. But just enough, a little fire from the gods, and it is the great sword of victory, worth everything to have. Give me your eyes, children, or this I would have sacrificed all of you. It means that much. Anyways, we cut away from that to the Tower of Nimrod the Lesser, the human-machine monolith. They stole an indexing machine. This is disturbing, I will not lie. And I tell you that because, contrary to what your kind has been led to believe, I am not programmed for truth. I can lie all day if I wanted to, just for the pleasure of it. But here I am, denying myself the joy of half-truths, the bliss of fiction, and pure delight of falsehood. And why? I'll tell you. No, really? I'd rather you keep talking to yourself. Oh, Nimrod's like, what did you say, you motherfucker? I apologize. It's been a costly day and I'm tired. And you, my other human friend, are you weary as well? Of course not, Nimrod. I'm like, you're probably the biggest motherfucker in this entire thing. I'm like, your name's Nimrod. How are we supposed to take that seriously? Nimrod just says, I don't believe you. And evaporates them to death. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, truth. Oh, please, great Nimrod, give us our truth, so that we may know the difference between darkness and light. Since you asked so nicely, here it is. See, their very existence was encrypted, invisible to our machine eyes. They came here in secret looking for something, and it seems they found it. I see you, mutants. I know your ways. Whatever were you looking for? Meanwhile, we cut back to Asteroid K. Hey, the problem with machine history is in the manner in which it's collected. Yes, they archive every moment of everything, so even if we did have access to their historical records, for example, if we knew something happened on a particular day, the machine record would still return a search result of billions of actions. Exactly, like looking for a grain of sand on an endless beach. So what we thought to do was not break into the archive to get the information we needed, but to break into a place where all the information gets indexed. Sure, we didn't get what we actually need, but if Krakoa can decrypt it, at least we'll finally know exactly where we can find it. This body once belonged to a mutant who could communicate with everything, and retain all that he was through he has long left of this existence. We will find a way. See, this is all that really matters, that we leave behind something that resonates long after our passing. For most, there is nothing, just the pointless march towards oblivion. It's eat, sleep, fight, die, just as it's always been, and always shall be, until the sun swallows us all. You're fantastically depressing, Zorn, the perfect teammate for the end times. Thank you, friend. Success. It's unlocked. You gotta be kidding me. A little mumbling nonsense and the world just opens up? I should have been born with brains. I should have been born with brains and not like Hulk punched minds out all many years, centuries ago. Yeah. There, right there. There's the node where they keep the information we're looking for. Or, you know the problem with this, right? There's not going to be anyone left to use it. We only succeed in getting this far because Purposeful made us invisible to the machines, and now we won't have that. Yeah, we'll have to fight our way in, hold them off while we get the thing, and then fight our way out. It's a suicide mission, you understand that? I've never been more excited for anything in my entire life. I am secretly turned on by this, and I will go ahead and speak depressingly about my nihilistic intents. I now know we were never going to stop the machines. The technology, the future, it's unavoidable. Like, the question I have as to why it always aimed at us mutants, to test us, to see if we were fit to survive. We will go and take what we need, and then we will return. This is a promise whose guarantee is assured, for I will lead you. The end of the chapter. Along with a bunch of data clusters, such as Nimbus, and we cut to X-Men Year 1000. So, Nimrod, did it work? Normally, civilizations of our mutancy only attract universal predators. This is because of the perceived value of the system is found in the celestial resources and not its living culture. Our system is a place to be mined, not preserved. Now, after hundreds of years of ugly skirmishes and quiet wars, we decided to convert Nimbus into a replicant world mine and show the universe what we are capable of. And it seems we have snared a giant. So, librarian, did it work? I think we're about to find out. And an inky black goop of space life comes out, taking on form, staring at the librarian. We, Felix, ate your world mind. They fought super sovereignty and lost, but we Valix saw the whispering gods behind it. We have heard your message, now here's ours. What do you seek? Ascension. And the sky is covered in black goo of electric nanobites, I think. Types of societies. Oh, okay, let's go to this data page. Galactic scale of interstellar societies based on measurements of species intelligence. Machine, hive, intelligence. Types of societies for galactic. Technarch, world mind, Valix, machine, hive, intelligence, and it's data, 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 data. You see by now, there is no you and I. There is only us. We are together, or we are nothing. And thus ends the 2 issues of House of 10 and Powers of X. Man, the mystery deepens, doesn't it? It really did. And the artwork by Pepe Raz and RV Sylvia are just beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love the artwork in this massive epic. And Hickman is just great at this. It's so insane. Oh man. It's pretty awesome. I'm really hoping we see more RB Sylvia again in the X-Men comics. Like Pepe Larraz is going to work with Gary Duggan on the X-Men. Let's see what RB Sylvia is going to do in the meantime, hopefully. Oh boy, it's pretty damn awesome, isn't it? So, this was Pop Culture Omniversa, Neo Reality Entertainment, presenting Pax Krakoa, House of X and Powers of 10, Issue 2. Ooh, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my content in the description below. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all next time. Peace and take care, everyone. Stay safe.